Balance the books. In addition, he says he'll also have to pull millions from the city's rainy day fund from retiree benefits. It is a path that Mamdani says he does not want to go down.
And if we do not go down the first path, the city will be forced down a second, more harmful path.
Yeah. There's obviously a couple options here, right? At play. Either Kathy Hochul raises taxes on the wealthy, or he tries to basically force the hand of Julie Menin, okay, to use the city to increase property taxes, okay? Or austerity. Now, austerity is unacceptable. It's not going to happen, right? He is not going to do austerity.
Still waiting on that blue hair BTW.
He said he's not going to do austerity at all. So that's gone from the equation. New statement from the council speaker, Julie Menin, on Mamdani's budget proposal came out as well. We're going to be covering all that, but here, let's do this.
The options of the second path are the options of last resort.
I'm turning off TTS.
Options that we will only employ if there is no other means of arriving at a balanced budget.
So I guess he's asking, what's a 2% tax increase on a multimillionaire?
If you're already the highest tax jurisdiction in America, it's a massive tax. You know, what I love about this guy, and I'm giving him credit, he goes big. He goes big, and he's got a fantastic social media team. This is great. This is bat poo-poo crazy, what he is proposing. And probably sometime next year, within 12 to 18 months, I will meet him in Miami and give him Real Estate Agent of the Year award. Because I'm not happy with what's happening. I can't get across the bridge anymore. I live in Miami Beach. Everybody from New York and New Jersey and Massachusetts is moving into my neighborhood. I'm pissed off. And this guy's just doing more of it. What he's proposing is beyond insane, but I love it.
You are
now,
very
I'm like
dramatic
everybody else.
yourself.
Listen, you guys live here. You're not paying your fair share.
I don't live here.
You've got to pay 110%. That's the right thing to do. Because he's not cutting spending. He's just going to tax you into oblivion.
I found this very interesting chart, some data for you, Kevin.
Thank you.
The last time there was a tax hike on the wealthiest, this was in 2021. Take a look at this chart. You see what's going on there? The number of people making more than $200,000 in the city increased. The number of people making between $200,000 and $1 million increased. Everybody who makes a lot of money, there were more of them in New York City. Okay, so the idea
Abby,
that there was some...
True, why not increase taxes to 110% if it's so good?
Look,
let's go.
So what's interesting about this, of course, is, like I said, he is forcing the hand of the governor's office, right? This is very real pressure because the city does not want to raise property taxes at all, especially because if property taxes are raised, obviously landlords are going to turn around and increase the price of rent. It's going to make housing more unaffordable. It's going to be a burden on working class individuals, which he openly states, by the way, in this long response video that he crafted, his town hall that he did, where he basically said, you know, we are forced to raid the rainy day fund, the retiree health benefits, trust reserve, and to increase property taxes. Okay, what is this? You dumb socialist! I bet you want to tax millionaires at some absurd percentage, like 90%. That would never work and has never been done. But you wouldn't know that because you're a dumb socialist. Exactly. That person is joking. Obviously, the highest tax bracket was 90%. The highest marginal tax rate was 90% back in the day. For those of you who don't know humor and jokes. But basically, he's explaining that what will happen if Kathy Hochul refuses to raise taxes on the rich. She's the one who has the ability to stop this, which is why he's been transparent, so people can ask her to pass the wealth tax, which she refuses to do. He can't fulfill his promises if she's not cooperative. Also, without the mess Adams made, none of this would be even happening. Blame the guy who's been in office for less than 2 months. One of the techniques here that I think is very intelligent is pitting two of these different forces together. In order to develop more public pressure, Zohran Mamdani is being as transparent as possible. He doesn't have the power to do this wealth tax because he's the mayor. But as the mayor, he has the power to put pressure on Kathy Hochul, and he also has the power to pursue different kinds of taxes at the city level. One of the things that he has the power to do, as the power to pursue, is trying to raise the property taxes. He doesn't want to raise the property taxes, so because that's an objectively unpopular position, and it will have negative pressure on working class New Yorkers, something that he's very aware of. He is tactically saying, if you don't actually do this wealth tax, which is very popular, then we will be forced to either A, raise the property taxes, which is very unpopular, and will force the New York Assembly to do something that many people don't want to do, especially because legally, the New York budget has to be balanced. So it's going to happen no matter what. And because austerity is not an option, understandably, austerity is not an option at all, he's basically saying these are the options that we have. Someone's going to get taxed. It's up to you to either tax the middle class and working class individuals by way of raising the property taxes and then having landlords fucking raise the rent and ruin affordability, or you tax the super wealthy. It's very simple. Either you tax 33% New Yorkers, or not 33% New Yorkers, sorry. Either you tax 33,000 New Yorkers, who are some of the wealthiest individuals in the country and the wealthiest individuals in the city of New York, or we increase the cost of living for 5 million New Yorkers. Okay? Either 33,000 people pay a little bit more, a modest increase in taxes, or 5 million New Yorkers get punished in the process. That's it. It's a brilliant way to apply pressure to Kathy Hochul, especially because he has to balance the budget no matter what. I actually think Zohran played ball pretty well here, endorsed Hochul, and then turned around and was like, okay, now you hold up my endorsement. Yeah. Not only did he get, through his early endorsement, a immediate 1.5, Hasan, New York has 19 total million people, downstate is almost 9 million. Yeah, 33,000 is a modest amount. 33,000 of the most wealthy New Yorkers paying a little bit more in taxes. I mean, that's crazy. What does austerity mean? It means belt tightening. It means like cutting social expenditure. Now, of course, you can't really do austerity in New York City regardless, because on the one hand, you have the New York Post and all these other people yelling at Zohran for what the sanitation in New York is doing. Well, someone's got to pay the fucking people to plow the snow, right? So you can't, on the one hand, demand austerity, and on the other hand, say, who's going to plow the fucking snow? You're not plowing the fucking snow. It's that simple. Mamdani says if Governor Kathy Hochul rejects the state legislature's proposed tax increases on the rich, he'll have to balance the budget on the backs of working people using the only tools at the city's disposal. So it's either austerity, which is a non-starter, or hiking property taxes, which will still hurt most New Yorkers. Zohran came out of the gate swinging and said, today I'm releasing the city's preliminary budget. After years of fiscal mismanagement, we're staring at a $5.4 billion budget gap and two paths. One, Albany can raise taxes on the ultra wealthy and the most profitable corporations and address the fiscal imbalance between our city and the state. The other, a last resort, balance the budget on the backs of working people using the only tools at the city's disposal. The first path matches a structural crisis with a sustainable and fair solution. I know where I stand. New Yorkers voted for bold change and competent leadership. We will deliver both, and we look forward to partnering with Albany to protect working New Yorkers. Still taking a conciliatory tone. Can he freeze rent, though, or is he not talking about that to keep leverage? Wait, what? No. Freezing the rent stuff is a totally separate conversation, and that's already moving in a positive direction as well. I'm going to talk about that in a second. He got a massive fucking boost on that agenda as well. This is something entirely different. This is the other agenda item. The other agenda item was specifically around balancing the budget and also raising tax for the wealthy in an effort to balance the budget. Yes, he has potentially 5 new slots, 5 new appointees on the rent board. So that's huge as well. Okay. Yeah, but why wouldn't they throw it on the back of working people? Wouldn't they blame Zohran for that? It's not going to happen because here's the other side of it. A new statement from Council Speaker Julie Menin, who was appointed to that position because of her hatred for Zohran, for the record. New statement from Council Speaker Julie Menin on Mamdani's budget. The option of raising property taxes and dipping into reserves is a non-starter, but doesn't look like she's endorsing Mamdani's alternative pitch to raise taxes on the wealthy. Because again, he's basically pinning two establishment Democratic planks against one another. Do you understand? He legally has to balance the budget. And he has laid it out. He said, we got to balance the budget. It's literally something I legally have to do. And the budget has a massive $5 billion shortfall. No, Kaya, no, you can't stand right underneath me. That's crazy. Someone said there's a fourth option. He could invade New Jersey and raid their coffers. He could invade and arrest the mayor of Jersey City and take all their tax money. Yeah. Raid the coffers of Jersey City. It is time. Okay. So, Council Speaker Julie Menin, who is an op at the city level, okay, comes out with a retort against Mamdani's budget proposal and says, the mayor's preliminary budget marks the beginning of a critical conversation about how we safeguard New York City's fiscal future while protecting New Yorkers at a time when New Yorkers are already grappling with an affordability crisis, dipping into the rainy day reserves and proposing significant property tax increases should not be on the table whatsoever. There's only been 2 other times when they've raided the city's rainy day reserves, which are, at times during COVID and Michael Bloomberg, I believe, during the financial crisis that took place in 2007, 2008. And then the other time was Bill de Blasio during COVID, right? So obviously it's like, it's a last resort. So it doesn't have to become a last resort, right? At a time when New Yorkers are already grappling with an affordability crisis, depending on the rainy day reserves and proposing significant property tax increases should not be on the table whatsoever. The council believes there are additional areas of savings and revenue that deserve careful scrutiny before increasing the burden on small property owners and neighborhood small businesses, which could worsen the affordability crisis. The council will release its own projections ahead of preliminary budget hearings and will conduct a thorough review of the administration's financial projections. Our goal is to deliver a balanced budget that protects essential services, addresses the affordability crisis, and reflects shared fiscal responsibility. What you have to remember here, by the way, is that they want to do austerity. That's not going to fucking happen. They want to cut expenditures. And they certainly don't want to cut the $6.4 billion police budget, by the way. They want to cut the budget for sanitation. They want to cut the budget for libraries. They want to cut the budget for the things that the city offers to all of its citizens unconditionally, all of its constituents unconditionally. Zohran is not going to let that happen. Inshallah, he's not going to let that happen. That's the reason why he's playing hardball here. And I fully fucking support it. Okay? It's brilliant. It's tactical. It makes me reconsider my initial scrutiny and skepticism. Okay? I'm glad that he's actually taking the lead here and he's actually applying the public pressure in the ways that he's doing. I fully support this move.
Don't get mad at me.
I'm not mad. I'm excited about it.
I'm just asking you.
Because I want you to pay, not me.
I'm asking you, is there really proof of the brain drain that you say,
it's
the
called
money drain?
England in the late 60s.
Okay.
It's called
So
France.
then,
You had to let the man cook. Sorry, guys. I'm going to be a fucking doubter when it's necessary, okay? I'm not going to sit there and be a regime loyalist and praise dear leader. If he does something that I am skeptical of, I have to tell you the truth, even if I personally like the guy, okay? I personally like this guy. You know this. It's not a fucking secret, okay? And I am fairly considerate and very open about my thought process with politicians that are closest to me ideologically, politicians that I talk to in person, I'm still going to tell you what my criticisms are when they arise. I have to call balls and strikes, okay? I promise you that I'm never going to be a person that is a regime loyalist unless that regime is doing things that require this loyalty. That's the difference between someone like myself and someone like MSNBC or someone like Fox News. Everyone has a role to play here. But even when it comes to someone who is objectively the closest politician that I have ever seen, at least with his representation of his own personal ideology, with what he's done, both in the past and what he says he was going to do, I am still going to be critical. That I promise to you. No matter what happens, I am accountable to no one but you guys, okay? The Piker Broadcasting Service is sponsored by you, the people, for you, the people. Does this put his prior moves into a new perspective or as well, or strictly his endorsement with Kathy? A little bit, yes. This was a really good move, okay? I think this was a really smart move. I really liked it. I think this applies pressure, as obvious pressure as you possibly could apply to Kathy Hochul. Of course, City Council Speaker Julie Menin won't consider Mamdani's proposal to raise property taxes if Hochul refuses to tax the rich. Instead, she went on a conservative radio show to say the city needs to spend less on retirees' health care benefits. That is a fucking non-starter. Okay? That is obviously a fucking non-starter, and she is going to get fucking destroyed because, especially at the city level, a city council speaker has a level of accountability to their constituents that the governor doesn't, right? Like, it's much harder to apply pressure to the governor's office than it is to the city council speaker. Okay? That's a easier hurdle to clear for Zohran Mamdani. That's it. So when she stands at odds with the needs of some of the most important constituents from especially an election perspective, it's going to be much easier to turn the fucking pressure on someone like her. Because remember, this is the New York Democrats rat fucking Zohran by appointing Julie Menin to the speaker's position. This is where politics gets ruthless. It's where politics gets conniving. This is where politics gets annoying and boring for most people. Obviously, we pay close attention to it because of the ideological nature of Zohran Mamdani, what he represents as a movement. So it's good to keep a close eye on this stuff, especially when the local papers are actively misrepresenting what Zohran Mamdani is advocating for. He's going to need allies on his side in the media side of things. Okay? New York Post straight up came out and was like, Zohran wants to do property taxes. He fucking sucks. He fucking sucks. They did not actually cover transparently what he was doing. So someone's got to do it. So it's up to people like ourselves to correct the record.
Why are there more multimillionaires in New York now than the last time they raised taxes?
I don't think they're paying their fair share.
I have lived in South Florida for 46 years. And there is no doubt that we are seeing an exodus of very, very wealthy people, billionaires, from California and from New York into South Florida. In Florida, there are no state taxes. Every day I open up the news and there's a new real estate record that has been broken in home sales because Larry Page is moving down and he just bought a place for $100 and some million. Zuckerberg's moving down. So the bottom line is this. When you put a hike...
The real people, the only people that matter, people who purchase hundreds of millions of dollars of real estate. Yeah, the whole point of class warfare and what Zohran Mamdani and many others in the Democratic Party are representing now is to stop the fucking bleeding for the working class. Who gives a fuck about Larry Page? Larry Page can suck my dick. It's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, she's saying the quiet part out loud. Anna Navarro is literally like, oh, isn't it wonderful that Florida is now a fucking safe haven for Jeffrey Epstein affiliates? As though it wasn't in the past. I mean, obviously, that's why his base of operation was there to begin with. Fuck those people. What the fuck do you mean?
On taxes on just the very wealthy. You run the risk of those very wealthy not paying it because they will find a way to have a loophole and to skirt.
Oh, okay. So they're always going to fucking skirt the system. So we mustn't even try to tax them. Again, this kind of defeatist mentality in the past could have been packaged as someone who is leading through fear, right? Someone who is actually fearful. I think we all know now, especially with the opportunity that people like Zohran present, that this isn't leading through fear. Okay, this isn't like a reactionary perspective that revolves around being fearful that like the super wealthy are keeping the economy hostage. This is by design. You're not being pragmatic at all. You're actually dick riding billionaires into fucking oblivion. You only serve their interests. That is the position that you play on this panel. Look at Abby's face. That's it. It's very obvious. I mean, and of course, Kevin O'Leary is already a super wealthy person regardless. But Anna Navarro is playing this role of like, no, you don't understand. You have to listen to me. I'm a former Republican.
Those taxes, even if it means moving to Indian Creek and living in billionaires' bunker, they can afford to do so. The people, the people who have to live in New York to work may not be able to afford to do that. But if you've got your private plane and you've got the ability to move,
Anna, we're talking about people who make more than $1 million a year. It's not exactly, I mean, maybe in New York it's
is that what he's going to tax people?
That's
in
what
California, it's billionaires.
that's what the proposal. The proposal is people who make more than $1 million a year. It's a very specific group of people. And I'm just asking, realistically, are we really going to see what you're claiming we're going to see? And yeah, there are
we're seeing it.
Tons of wealthy people moving from California, from all over.
It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Wealthy people are not going to escape New York. You want to know why? Because they're in New York to begin with, okay? New York already has a higher tax burden on wealthy people. It's that simple. So why are they in fucking New York? Why are they not in Florida already? It's bullshit. Wealth flight is a lie that the wealthy people constantly present. It is bullshit. Here's a Forbes writer on the capital flight myth. Billionaire flight is rare, exaggerated, and often confused with paper avoidance or account maneuvering, not physical relocation. California's proposed billionaire wealth tax act could raise $100 billion, even after accounting for avoidance. Good tax design beats fear-based forecasting every time. The wealth flight narrative survives because it sounds intuitive, not because it's true. The research actually shows, 1, wealth tax moves paper. The dominant response is accounting maneuvering. 2, the wealthy are less mobile than publicly suggested. And 3, revenue gained exceeds revenue lost from those who leave. The real risk to wealth tax revenue isn't migration, it's design. California has no estate or inheritance tax, allowing vast fortunes to escape taxation, state taxation for decades. When policymakers mistake avoidance for exit, they misdesign taxes and leave billions on the table. Wealth flight is just a threat. It's a threat that is unrealized. It is completely fucking made up. And there are also additional safeguards against this kind of maneuvering anyway. Slap a fucking fat exit tax and watch the billionaires stay in the state. Okay? We have to start calling these guys bluffs out, because the reality of the matter is you can extend this argument all the time to taxing the wealthy, which is one of the most popular fucking positions in the United States of America. It transcends political boundaries. It transcends politics. It transcends the political duopoly. There is a consensus amongst the base. They want the super wealthy to pay their fair share in taxes. Okay? It's bullshit. We should tax you too? Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, you should tax me. Bitch, I pay the fucking highest percentage in taxes in the goddamn country. My income is pure income coming from you, the viewers, in the form of a fucking 1099. You understand that? So I'm already getting pure income and I'm paying all of it back. I pay a higher share. I pay the highest share in taxes in the United States of America, far higher of a real effective tax rate than the average billionaire or the average millionaire pays because of the way that my income works. Okay? If the average billionaire or the average millionaire, the average small business owner, average big business owner actually paid my percentage of taxes, the American tax coffers would be fucking filled to the goddamn brim. Okay? I pay the same real percentage taxes at the end of the fucking year that the average worker does. Okay? It's unheard of for someone in my position. It's unheard of for someone at my fucking tax bracket. Most people look at me like I'm a psycho for that reason. Not only do I live in the state of California, I live in Los Angeles, and on top of that, I don't actually fucking shelter my assets or fucking dump it into the stock market or anything like that. It's just pure income. And it's ironic because you're saying this to defend fucking billionaires. It's so stupid. And I still say, yeah, there's more room to grow in terms of taxing someone like myself. What percentage? I don't know what the real percentage is, but it's something over. It's literally fucking. It comes down to almost like 50%. The worst problem is, at least from where I'm standing, I don't mind paying these taxes because at least some of that still goes back to the teachers, some of that goes back to the roads, some of that goes back to the infrastructure. I want all of it to go back to the state of California, to helping these groups. I want all of it to go to initiatives that help the working class and not to like Israel or the military industrial complex or to major businesses that get these tax breaks that basically are subsidies at the end of the day. There's no reason for fucking Palantir to avoid taxes every goddamn year, okay? It's ridiculous. When I talk about this stuff with my French friends, for example, they're shocked. There is this false notion, there's this false understanding that in the United States of America, the effective tax rate at the end of the year is actually super low. That's not real. That's not the case at all. For someone like myself living in California, I pay a higher effective tax rate, than the average wealthy French person does. They're shocked by it. And the reason why they're shocked by it is because of, one, the false notion that, America is a tax shelter. Obviously, it could be a tax shelter if I don't know, incorporated in fucking Delaware or some shit, right? But the other reason why they're shocked by it, because there are plenty of tax loopholes that I could take advantage of, especially at my current level of wealth. I simply do not do that. But the other reason why they're shocked by it is because there's nothing that we get in return for those taxes. There is a tremendous amount of homeless people in the streets. The infrastructure is dog shit. There's no adequate public transit. There's no health care. Education is underwater. There's nothing to show for. That's the reason why they're shocked by it. They can't comprehend it. They're like, what the fuck are you paying taxes for? And that's a very real question that a lot of people have because the American tax policy creates instability. It goes against social cohesion. We don't have the mentality of the super wealthy giving back in exchange for the wealth that they've accrued off the backs of the American working class, partially because everyone has the understanding that, oh yeah, you're paying these taxes and then where's it going? To build a fucking stadium. You're just basically subsidizing the super, super wealthy. Why the fuck should I pay taxes? Of course I'm going to cheat. Of course I'm going to do everything in my power to fucking engage in tax avoidance. Ask the average European, middle wealth guy, right? The average European millionaire, why they pay the taxes that they do, and there is infinitely more social cohesion. Not to say that these are good guys in general, they're still fucking capital owners, but the reality of the matter is they have this understanding that the taxes are going to use, like to good use. There are plenty of people who are higher earners on average, part of the professional managerial class, part of the, small business contingency that somewhat recognize, at least even after 2 decades of austerity in European capitals, that like the money is still going back to good programs, to things that, help boost the prosperity of the people. That's where that real cohesion comes from. Republicans are too stupid and too racist to recognize it. They think, oh, it's because these guys are homogenous societies. No, it's because there is a mutual understanding, at least for the time being, that the government is supposed to work for the interests of the common good. Okay? That's changing, especially with decades and decades of austerity and more opportunities for the private enterprise to come in and take advantage of this, take advantage of the shittier government services to say, oh, we can provide a better service and then, make money that way. But yes, rich people benefit from roads and education. Educated workers they use that have to live and drive to their workplaces to make them profits. Exactly. Rich people and small businesses benefit from having social safety nets so they don't have to fucking pay for it themselves. Okay? That's how this stuff works. Anyway, but yeah, we're now at a position where Zohran is forcing the hand of Kathy Hochul or possibly Menin to do the right thing.
For the country to Florida.
But it's not the
and to
person making,
Texas.
it's not the person
and
making
to-
$1 million a
and to
year,
other-
which in New York is not as much as it sounds in other
Right.
places.
So-
it's the person making $50 million a year.
Exactly.
That's
so
moving.
exactly. So
Yeah.
people making $50 million a year are moving, but many other people who are making much less than that, but still much more than middle class people, are probably not moving.
I feel like husbands and wives, school teacher, nurse, they're moving to South Carolina, North Carolina. They're trying to get away from the overburdensome tax code in New York. And when you see Mandani,
They're not getting away from the overburdensome tax code, dumbass. They're getting away because New York is fucking unaffordable, which is precisely why Zohran won, because he literally openly called it out. It's crazy to look at the symptom of a problem and demand more of that same. It's crazy to look at the symptom of a problem and then demand more of the problem that caused it, okay? This is how reactionaries always fucking operate. Also, this guy's name is John Tobacco. This is a ridiculous person. I mean, I'm sorry. He looks ridiculous. He sounds fucking ridiculous. This is like if I were to present a guy named John Tobacco wearing like a Joker villain style outfit over here, who is the city comptroller who's going to save the interests of the wealthy, you'd be like, come on, dude. Like, really? We're doing fucking afraidophobia this hard, this early? Like, can you be serious for a moment? You'd be telling me I'm out of my mind. Meanwhile, this cartoon character is a real person, apparently. Hey, I'm Big Tobacco. I'm John Tobacco. Hey, how you doing? Fuck you, all right? I'm going to work my ass off to make sure with my spray painted on head that I'm going to be saving the interests of the wealthy over here. Fuck you. The wealthy, they're being taxed far too much. We got to put an end to that over here. Get the fuck out of here. How you doing? Fuck you. I'm John Tobacco.
news break to everyone here. Mandani cannot raise taxes, okay? And Kathy Hochul is up for re-election this year. So there's no possible way that she will allow him to raise taxes this year because
What are you fucking doing? Busting my fucking balls over here. How you doing? Fuck you. Mandani can't fucking raise the fucking taxes.
she won't get re-elected. So
Yeah, founder of a crypto business too. Fucking awesome.
a lot of this is kind of smoke and mirrors, and it shouldn't come as no surprise to anyone that he wants to take from the rich and give to the poor. He said in his campaign, white people have been controlling the levers of capitalism for too long, and we need to transfer that to brown people. He said those words.
He can't raise.
Can't do anything.
He can't raise income tax, but he can raise property tax in the municipality of New York.
Yeah, he does.
asking.
He does have that
asking.
fucking power. He's not gonna do it though. How dare you? How dare you fucking suggest raising it property fucking taxes? What kind of gabagool bullshit is this? Hey, Hey, I'm talking here. Get the fuck out of here, Anna Navarro. Oh my God. If he fucking does that, I'm gonna huff and I'm gonna puff. I'm gonna lose my fucking mind.
You can do that by executive order.
But hold on, to be clear, he explicitly said he's asking Albany to raise taxes on people making over $1 million.
I think that's what he's doing. But to his point earlier, he's swinging for the fences. I don't think anybody is. Well, yes, it is surprising to actually hear him say it, but this is what he ran on. He talked about what he was going to do. I feel like, why not? Why not? Because he's doing exactly what this president is doing. He's leading and he's doing it by any means necessary. Whatever he says, he's leading with this boldness. Like, I'll try this. Let's see what happens. I mean, like, why the hell not? Let me just throw it right here and see what happens.
This is interesting.
I think it's really clear that he doesn't want to raise property taxes. He wants to do everything he can to make sure he doesn't want to. He wants to increase taxes on the richest people and the biggest corporations, but he needs Albany to do that. He needs the governor to do that. And like you said, she's not going to do that in election year. So I think that's pretty valid.
Right.
But I think this idea that people are all going to flee New York. It's
They are.
Well, here's the thing. My guess is the people buying houses in Millionaire Row in Florida are not also giving up their apartments in New York. They're just changing where they live.
They're
keeping
keeping track of
They're doing what Anna does.
They're keeping track of their days, and they are making sure that they are not here more than 180
We're
days.
making a little loophole for the very, very richest to say I live in a different state, but then they're going to come back to New York because New York is still New York.
And
it's
let's
not
be
a
fair.
crisis, and it's not a
Ban the
crisis.
rich from New York. I love it.
But hold on,
Not
but
183
what
days,
John-
no days in New York, no wealthy people in New York. I love this
But what
idea.
John,
Most of
hold
us
on,
know that
John made a
corporations and the
really,
ultra-wealthy aren't paying
John made a
Everybody should
very
pay their fair
important
share.
point. Zohran Mamdani ran on this, okay?
I love it.
He ran on it. The people voted him in. He beat out all the other Democratic candidates. He threw Kathy Hochul, who you're claiming won't back this, a lifeline by supporting her in her primary. I think it feels like you guys have the politics of this backwards.
Oh, really?
Okay? She is the one who
They're working
needs
together
him
too, I think.
So
just
the
as much
unknown
as he needs
assemblyman
her.
threw the lifeline to the incumbent governor, is what you're saying. He threw her the lifeline.
I mean,
I don't know if you know this, John Tobacco, but Zohran Mamdani, as it stands, is the most popular politician in the United States of America and is not even a nationally renowned politician now, but an internationally known one. So, sucks to suck, but cat's out of the fucking bag over here. Yeah! Kathy Hochul needs Zohran Mamdani for her political career more than vice versa, more than the reversal of that position now. Okay?
he is more
She backed
of
him,
all
and
the
he
New
didn't
York
even get
of
he
all
didn't
the
get a
New York
majority.
politicians.
He didn't even get more than half
of all the New York
Yorkers.
politicians, he's the most popular.
Correct.
That's right.
He is the most popular.
He didn't
So
even get
I
a
know that it's not.
plurality. He
I know
didn't
that
get a
it's
half.
not an easy thing to understand, but I think Mamdani has shifted the politics in this city, and I think it's a real question that if the voters who voted him in to raise taxes on rich people don't want him to actually do that.
But what happens if he doesn't deliver by chance? Maybe he doesn't deliver. I still can't get on a free bus yet, and I'm pissed. My hotel still costs me money in New York.
Are you getting on the bus? Are you getting on the bus? Are you legitimately getting on a bus?
$5 for coffee. I'll get on a bus if it's free.
So the bus is free. You yourself will get on the bus.
My hotel,
Is that what you're saying?
Kevin,
I want a free
it'll-
hotel.
a cold
I
day
want
in
a
hell
free
when we see
bus.
you get on the
It'll
bus.
be-
I want to
it'll
get
be
groceries.
2%
I
more.
printed stuff from him.
No way.
Guys,
I want it.
all right.
That's not true.
I want my
That's
All
not
right,
true.
all right. We gotta go.
This is not all about you. The catch-20.
Why does Zohran Mamdani not make the buses fast and free in the first day in office?
Here in New York is that there's a balanced budget law, right?
Yeah.
And so they can't be like the federal government and spend more than what they have.
All right,
And
don't
let me
respond,
according
Kevin.
to
We
him,
have
he's
to
got a
go.
gap.
Did he promise
We gotta
money
go, my
for nothing,
friends.
chicks for free? Yes or no?
Chicks for free?
Money
No,
for
I think
nothing,
that was
chicks for free,
Epstein.
and we didn't get either of them.
Kevin, listen.
I'm upset.
That free bus is going to cost
You
you
don't vote
2%
here,
more on your
Kevin.
upper
Don't
tax
remember.
bracket.
Where's my money for
Next for
nothing,
us.
chicks for free?
You're a
Next-
Canadian who lives in Florida. What the hell are you upset about?
Next
Because
for
I want my
us.
money.
Incredibly shocking, at least on Abby Phillips's performance. Woke is low-key back. Like, Abby Phillips was cooking on that. I was not expecting the CNN host to be cooking so goddamn hard on that. Respect.
Congresswoman Valerie Foushee is facing a primary challenge from Nita Alam. She's backed by Bernie Sanders. Can you comment on that primary, which is coming up in just a couple weeks in North Carolina?
I strongly support the Congresswoman, as is the case with the Congressional Black Caucus and many of her colleagues that have served with Val for the last several years. She's a tremendous member of Congress, very thoughtful, very studious, very serious, and very forceful in advocating on behalf of her constituents and pushing back against Donald Trump's extremism. For us in the House, primaries are a way of life. That's just the reality. You know, the framers decided that the House would be the institution that is closest to the American people, to reflect the hopes, the dreams, the aspirations, the fears, the concerns, the anxieties, the life experiences, and in the words of the framers, the passions of the people. And one of the ways in which they effectuated that dynamic is to give the House a 2-year term. And so every 2 years, we have to go back to the people to make an argument to persuade them to renew our 2-year employment contract. That's just a way of life. It must be nice to have a 6-year term. But we don't have that luxury. And so that's going to mean, in many districts across the country, that there will be active primaries. And we embrace that as a reality of what the House is supposed to represent. But at the same period of time, I stand behind every single one of my Democratic colleagues, from the most progressive, Representative Ocasio-Cortez, to the more centrist ones like Tom Suozzi, and everybody in between. I stand behind all of them. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that they're all reelected.
New York City is trying to fix a massive budget shortage.
Who would you be your ideal replacement for Jeffries as Piker? I mean, I don't know. I think Ro Khanna could be interesting. John Fetterman. It was Chi. Guys, I don't think you understand. When you take out, like if Chi Osei was still running against Hakeem Jeffries, and let's say in the long shot that he wins, he doesn't automatically become the speaker. Like, that's not how that, you know, that's not how that works, right?
Shortfall.
Mayor Mamdani says if the state doesn't tax the rich more, property taxes will have to go up to fill the gap. Aziza Shuler joins us live from the studio with more on the potential impact to people. Aziza.
Good morning. So with the city staring down a $7 billion budget gap, someone will have to shoulder the cost. Mayor Mamdani says it should be the wealthy. Governor Hochul opposes raising taxes. And many New Yorkers say they don't want to carry the burden at all. Mayor Mamdani's first and preferred strategy to close the $7 billion budget deficit is a 2% income tax hike on roughly 33,000 New Yorkers earning more than $1 million a year, along with higher corporate taxes. It's a plan Governor Hochul has firmly rejected as she heads into a re-election campaign. So that leaves option 2, raising property taxes on everyone, homeowners, building owners, and corporations that own property here. And Governor Hochul is also against that.
This is not a conversation on the basis of ideology. This is a conversation about a fiscal crisis. And when faced with this crisis, the question is who should pay these taxes? I believe that it should be the wealthiest New Yorkers, the most profitable corporations.
New Yorkers are stuck in the middle of this battle of the taxes.
Everything has increased. Groceries, gas, just the day-to-day expenses. We don't want to take that burden. Give it to somebody else. Give it to the billionaires that you promised.
It sounds like there might be a lot of steps before it gets to that.
Jared Walzak, a senior fellow at the Tax Foundation, a nonprofit, says bumping up property taxes would lead to rent increases, make New York City less desirable, and go against the national trend.
What I will say beyond this is that across the country, most cities, most states are reducing property tax rates, not raising them.
Mamdani says closing the city's budget gap will take discipline, and he's now placing chief savings officers in every agency to cut waste and boost efficiency. Now, it's important to remember that this is just the mayor's proposed spending plan. The actual budget won't be done until after the state budget is finalized this spring. Mary.
Mayor Mamdani's proposed budget has scared a lot of people. Homeowners, co-op and condo owners, building owners, anyone who could see their property tax bills go up if Albany doesn't find extra money to bail the city out of its fiscal crisis. Political reporter Marcia Kramer has the story.
Flushing, Queens is a neighborhood of homeowners who are proud of their leafy streets, tiny plots of land, and the ability to have a touch of suburbia. Many, like Paul Graziano, have lived in the neighborhood for decades, but now they're worried they could be forced out by Mayor Mamdani's threat of a huge property tax hike. He says of his neighbors,
I think they would freak out.
Paul is worried too.
Absolutely impinge everything. I mean,
it is... Dude, local news is so fucking reactionary. Sometimes when I'm listening to local news, I'm like, is this the New York Post? Like, what the fuck is this? Like, explain why. Explain that he doesn't want to do that. This is another component of class warfare. The media is pliant, and its role is to preserve the interests of the wealthy. So, of course, they're doing this fucking insane propaganda to be like, Zohran wants to raise your property taxes. Is that what Zohran wants? Did he say that? Because I feel like he said the exact opposite. He said he doesn't want to raise the property taxes. Interesting.
I'm raising a 9-year-old kid, and everybody knows when you're raising kids, it's every dollar counts.
His taxes have already skyrocketed. When he bought this home in the neighborhood he grew up in, the taxes were $2,800. Now they're $11,000. Mamdani tax hike would mean another hike of over $1,000, and he's furious.
This is coming from someone who has never had to fight for anything in his life, who grew up in privilege and wealth. So, of course, raising property taxes on rich people, such as himself, isn't much of a burden.
But it's not just homeowners. Ann Korshak owns 2 small West Side buildings, which each have 10 apartments.
Bro, I swear to God. Like, I swear, dude. What the fuck are you saying? Oh, obviously, like, you're rich. And I famously associate rich people with wanting to pay higher percentages of their income in taxes. First of all, he's not rich. And secondly, what rich person's like, I love paying higher percentages in tax? I'm like the only rich person I know, at least, that doesn't fucking mind it. This argument is awesome. Well, you don't have a 9-year-old kid? True. It's just funny. You're not rich enough. That's why you don't mind it. No, I'm probably wealthier than that guy. Let's be real. But it doesn't matter. Well, I do have a daughter. She's not 9 yet. She's a handful. Anyway, my point is, that's the worst person to fucking ask their take on, and it's also totally one-sided, a totally ridiculous approach to the issue. Because there's not one option here. Zohran didn't come out and was like, I love raising property taxes, I'm going to raise the property taxes. He said, I don't want to raise the property taxes, but that's the last option. Unless we raise the taxes for the super wealthy.
There's no restraint. They just come to us as if we're an ATM machine.
She says the Mamdani tax hike, if it comes to fruition, will affect her tenants too.
It's going to make it much harder for me to replace a boiler. Instead, I'm going to repair it. Patch a roof instead of replacing a roof. Those are the kinds of decisions you have to make when, you know.
Oh, the poor landlords, man. Landlords famous for wanting to repair things in a timely manner are now going to be even worse than they were before, it seems. Very interesting stuff.
40% of your rent roll is going to the city in property taxes.
The mayor says raising property taxes is not his first choice. He wants more money from Albany, but
this is a budget that reflects the only tools that the city has at its disposal. When we are speaking about property taxes, that is a tool of very last resort.
So a tool of very last resort, he just said there, Marcia. Then why is he doing it?
If you ask me, he's trying to raise an army. Remember that army of volunteers that help him get elected? Well, he wants an army of people that are going to call their elected officials and scream bloody murder, don't raise my taxes.
Well, you know, at this news conference that you attended, you did ask the mayor if he would really do this, if he would really raise property taxes. Tell everyone what he said, but
well,
also,
he actually dodged that question. But the truth of the matter is that a lot can happen. This is a preliminary spending plan. The budget happens around May, depending on what happens in Albany. And a lot can happen. Revenues could go up. The state could decide to give more money. He could find waste in government agencies. The real question is this. It's an election year. Is the governor going to raise taxes? Is the legislature going to raise taxes when they have to face the voters in November?
All right.
Good question.
Marcia Kramer, keep us posted. Thank you.
On the 13th of January, President Trump said to the opposition in Iran, hold.
It's an election year. So, of course, Kathy Hochul can't be seen doing the bidding of the overwhelming majority of American voters in the state of New York. Like, I'm sure someone has the numbers. I don't know. I don't have it in front of me, but judging by national trends, I suspect that taxing the billionaires and the millionaires is an unfathomably popular position. I feel like if we had, I don't know, a democratic process, a governor that's up for re-election would be excited at the prospect of doing that. It almost feels like we don't have a democratic process. I don't know.